Well, good morning everyone and welcome to today's video. The last video that you've seen, I really want to first say thank you so much for all of your kind words. There were so many comments, it was impossible for me to keep track of all of them. But I read them all and I couldn't respond to all of them. So I'm really thankful for that you had such wise words to say and that the majority of people were very supportive of that video. Today I'm going to share with you something in deeper detail I never shared before. The title is Collecting Social Security at 62 and the Accident. Well, first of all, I want to go with the accident because this is something that people have been asking me and I refused to answer for years. And I thought now is the time to answer some questions. So grab a cup of coffee. I'll try not to make this too lengthy and we will get right into both those topics because age 62 and Social Security is something that affects many of my viewers. But many of my viewers through the years asked me about my husband. Now I want to share with you two things. I'm an extremely public person. I love sharing everything about myself. I have no problems sharing everything. You could ask me anything and I have no problem sharing that. My husband, on the opposite, like most opposites attract, is extremely private man. He doesn't like being in the spotlight. He doesn't like being the center of attention. And so when it came to my husband and things, I was notoriously very protective of him. I was like the mother hen with the child. You're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. But today I want to share with you a little insight, a little bit about my husband's life that maybe will answer some of your questions. When my husband was 16 years old, he worked for his dad. And his dad had an animal health supply business. They would run to Amish farms, to farmers selling animal supplies. One day, he went with his father in the van and was it winter time?
Yeah, we were delivering baler twine.
It was winter time.
We were delivering a van load of baler twine to farms.
Okay. I hope you can hear him. He's a little quiet. And
the roads were wet until we got down into this one hollow around the bend where the roads iced up. The roads were wet all day, but that hollow was colder and the road was icy around that bend. And we didn't make the turn and we hit a huge tree with the van head on.
Now this photo is very dark. I am going to try to put it in my scanner and lighten it up. But this actually was a van. So they hit the tree with the van. And what happened?
My dad tore his Achilles tendon and I broke my femur bone. And I had a friend with me that day. It was on a Saturday. We were out delivering baler twine, what they use for baling hay and straw. And my friend dislocated his hip.
So he broke his femur bone. Those of you who don't know what a femur bone, it is one of the, if it's not the largest bone.
It's the largest bone in your body.
It's the largest bone in your body and it runs basically near your hip, the whole way down to almost to your knee.
To your knee, hip to your knee. Runs from your hip socket to your knee socket.
Correct. So what happened was he had to have a metal plate with pins put in. Now remember, he was...
Screws. A metal plate with screws.
And you were 16 years old. Now the doctor told him that eventually down the road, he may have some problems with that.
They recommended getting the plate out a year later. And I went back a year later. I said, hey, this doesn't bother me at all. Everything's fine. Do I have to take it out? He said, no, you don't have to. He said, you may want it down the road sometime. He said it could bother you. I said, well, I'm not getting it out because it don't bother me now and I'm not worried about it. And I don't think it's the plate that bothers me now. I think it's what they call chronic.
Okay, so we will talk about that in a minute. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So I'll give a recap. So hopefully you can hear him. So he had a plate and screws put in his leg. When he was young, he had no problems with it. And a year later, they told him that he should get that removed. As a young boy, he didn't want to go through that major operation. And so they said, well, if you don't have a problem, you may down the road. So for years, he worked on the farm. He worked long hours. He worked and had very little, if no problems with it.
No problem.
And then he started window cleaning. He did that for 14 years. And that's what he was doing when I first started my YouTube channel. And in those 14 years, he was out in the elements, in the rain, the snow, the freezing temperatures, the heat, and he started having issues with his leg. And so we discovered that people who break their femur bones oftentimes will come with chronic pain or chronic conditions due to that. And so he had this chronic condition with his leg, and I will not allow him to work away. So let me explain this. There's been many times he said he's going to go out and get a job. Now, he is not on disability. We are not on any government assistance whatsoever, nor have we ever been. We don't need to because we live a comfortable life here. But I won't let him work away because, one, it will make his leg worse. Two, I don't see the point in it. If we can reduce our spending and we can live comfortably at home, life is too short. And there's where I become the mother hen, because his parents were my best friends. I lost them. They both passed away. I lost my mother. I lost my father. And I'll be, you know what, to lose my husband over him working with a bad chronic condition. I say life is short. I want him here with me. I want him here with me as long as we possibly can. And so that is why I do not talk about my husband on my channel. And that is the only video you're ever going to hear about this, because we don't make a big deal of it. But people asked, and now you got the answer. Anybody who has a chronic problem will totally understand it, that for him to go out and get a job now at his age with the situation he has is only going to make his situation worse. And I don't say it's worth it. So there you go. Now you heard a little bit about him. Yes, when I first started my YouTube channel, he fell and hit his head really hard. He had a concussion, and that was a situation he had, but that has pretty much recovered itself. The leg is something he will live with the rest of his life. As all of you know, with a chronic condition, especially coming from an accident, these things you live with the rest of your life. And so I'm very protective of him. Now we're going to talk about Social Security and age 62. My husband has 2 years before he can start.
2 years and 4 months.
2 years and 4 months before he can collect Social Security. Did you collect Social Security at age 62? And do you think it's a good thing, or would you wait? He's thinking that he is going to collect it at age 62. That will give us a little better crutch on our income, and that way we don't have to quite rely on my resources of income. As you know, in the previous video, I had quite an eye-opening awakening, and I feel more at ease, and I am just really reducing stuff. I am still currently reducing some things. Now, you will be seeing a video where I had a contract with a company to share that product. That was something that I had in writing, and it was a contract that I cannot dissolve. And I'll explain that when the time comes. I do have a few contracts that I have to adhere to because I promised to. But after those contracts, you're going to see a lot less materialism on my YouTube channel. There will be no links like that. If there was something that we really needed, and a company would come to me with their own links and say, hey, we'll give this to you if you would do a video, I will probably do that if it's something we need. So there won't be any links from me, no storefront links from me. So I will not be selling you anything. I will be using their links. And if it's something that we need and I feel like it's something, but that will be very rare. So I am really starting to downsize just my whole social experience. Now, I did this before, and that was a few years ago. Not to this extent, though. So it is just something I decided to do. And it all started with the $800 a month challenge, really. And I just felt a calling to just totally get rid of all of that as much as I can at this point. Of course, I have YouTube and I'm monetized on YouTube. That is my form of income to pay for our $800 a month. So our income is slashed by 75%. We are no longer going to be able to save $800 a month, which I'm sure you understand if I'm not working that much. But YouTube is really important to me, so I do keep that. That is my form of income. Let me know in the comments below about age 62. Did you start collecting at age 62? Would you tell Ken to do that too? I would love to hear your questions. If you have a question, you're welcome to email me, and I will be more than happy to do a video for you, sharing with you the answers to that. I am an open book. Sometimes people think I'm too open, but I am an open book. I don't hide anything, and I have an answer for every question that you give me. It may not be the answer that you want, but it is the answer to your question. There you go. There you heard from my husband. And I will be still working on trying to get him on the camera more. I know you lovely people love it, and I do too, but he is just not that kind of person. He doesn't enjoy that. And you know what? We have to respect everyone, because I'm sure most of you, or many of you that watch my videos, wouldn't want to be on camera either. Take care, and we'll see you guys on the next one.